Once upon a time, two boys grew up playing hockey in the village of Terrace, British Columbia. One of them went on to play in the National Hockey League. The other became a comedian. Now, one flies planes and coaches youth hockey. The other is still a comedian and owns newsstands. This is their podcast, Enjoying Orange Slices with Jeff and Ian.
Hello, Jeff. My name is Ian Bagg. The wedding was called the Sharples. It's a Collie Molly wedding. We're back in our own little town. The Collie Molly wedding. Seen you on the weekend. Had a great time. The NHL playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs has started. The world's is a vampire. I don't know. I don't know how to start this today. All I'm going to say is we had a great time this weekend. Canada is in the hold by 2 games, and life is good and tough at the same time. What a great weekend, though, huh?
It was awesome. So we didn't get to see the first game of the finals, which I don't know. We'll talk. We might or might not have someone join us today. We're not sure.
We're pretty sure we're going to have a special guest. He might be here in 3 to 5 minutes. So we'll talk about the guy that wasn't with us this weekend for a bit, and then we'll have him drop in. Maybe Daren Millard will drop by and give us his expert call on the game. I was arguing with him last night about the game. Anyways, back to
you two were kind of getting at it, and I was still putting the pieces together, getting back, and got to get everything going for the big week here in Vegas, and then got my mom here, so that's kind of cool. She's watching Netflix right now. She's like, "Hey, son," and I'm like, "I've never looked up anything on Netflix." She's like, "Hey, can you look this up on Netflix?" I'm like, "Sure." So
let me guess. Can I guess what she's watching? Some British show, right? She's watching a British show. Because Carrie Ann's watching, and she every time I walk in the room, she's watching it, and I go, "This show should be called Introductions," because that's all that happens on English shows is, Lord, meet Lord, that's out of Lord, and I'm just like, stupid. Anyways, back.
Well, and that's exactly they love the British shows. There's no question about it. And, they're always, and you know what? They're not afraid to off someone. On a British show, like over here in North America, we love our, we love our people. Like, oh, that's a star. We know that in the end they're going to save everything. British shows, they don't care. They're ruthless. They take you out. And this is kind of again little diversity for us. We're diversifying our portfolio. We're talking about movies today, and we might give some picks later. I don't know, but the British they have a way about them. They're a little bit sassy, a little bit, little tight sometimes, a little sassy, right? But they do write very good movies, and they'll take you out. You might think you're the star, but you're not.
After they'll introduce you, and then they'll de-introduce you in seconds.
Oh, yeah, they will care.
It's such a and the ladies and a couple of my friends that are males love it when Bridgerton comes out. I think that's what it's called. Oh my God, we have a guest. Should we bring our guest?
We have a guest? Okay, sure.
That's a problem solver right there.
Hey,
oh my goodness.
Welcome. How you doing there? Looks like you're on the IR again. Talk to us. What's going on?
What's going on? What is that?
What happened?
I just know I'd get something repaired for my bike accident in November.
Well, why didn't you wait until after we skated today?
Because they told me you're having surgery next Friday. It's so different from Canada. I went in, got x-rays, and they're like, "Yeah, that tendon's not being fixed. You have to have surgery." I'm like, "Okay. Yeah, next Friday." I'm like, what?
Right.
Within a week, I had it.
That it is with population, you get more choices, right? So it's pretty crazy how quick things happen down here. I had a friend that needed an MRI, 3 months. Oh, and then they were able to tell, "Oh, you don't have cancer." So that's pretty exciting. But 3 months worth of waiting.
3 months of waiting.
Right?
Yeah. How do you sleep? Right? Doing that.
Exactly.
Well, that's good. That's good news, though.
We do have a question about the cast. The cast looks like it was done by the doctor on Little House on the Prairie.
It's just a splint.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. So
Little House on the Prairie.
I get a good one
that
today.
Was awesome. I got to give you credit for that. You got what?
Okay,
What
I
did he
got
say? What was the line there?
Yeah, you're too busy. He said, "Go ahead, Lord Bagg. I don't want to take your thunder."
I said the cast looked like it had been done by the doctor on a Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I li-
it's pretty massive. You don't usually see casts like that. And you say it's not a cast. Is it soft?
Yeah. There's a splint inside
Oh, yes.
right
That's
here,
why it looks
but
so.
the
Yeah,
rest of
okay.
it looks, it's all.
So how,
The storekeeper's wife was a real bitch in that show.
and the daughter?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
You're
my
right.
God. Yeah, yeah. And then the one kid just kept running around with no home in the field.
Yeah. It was never winter really there either.
No,
That
it
was that was America's Bridgerton.
Yeah. It was like, it was never winter.
Where was that,
Ever-
Lord Bagg? Where was it filmed? You know,
It was here. It
In
was
Cali?
filmed. It was filmed, I
California?
think, up in Valencia.
outside of Oxnard.
Yeah, which is also where MASH was filmed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, up
Yeah.
in the hills over there. Yeah,
Well, you know,
This
when
is-
you come in,
we are not talking about traveling this week. We're talking about all entertainment. That's what we're
it's
talking about.
entertainment. Do you know when you come in from the north, Vancouver, probably Calgary, definitely Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, you fly right over top of where MASH was filmed.
Huh.
Into LA. Yeah,
Into LA.
And I didn't know that. The guy, one of the guys I was flying with one day, he's like, "Yeah, right down there." Like,
That's
that was
radar.
cool.
That's radar pointing at us right now as we're
Yeah,
flying
that's
over
right.
top. Da, 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 da.
You think
I love
they
it.
would have the airspace more controlled over a war zone?
You know what I can't believe is we fly and turn right over top of Pepperdine University, probably the most beautiful university or setting. The view from that place, and they just let airplanes go over top of there all day long. I'm like, every time I turn over top of that, I'm like, I can't believe they let us turn over top of Pepperdine. That someone down there hasn't got on the phone and said, "Okay,
Yeah,
you guys need to reroute this because we don't like it."
because in Orange County, those people had so much money. They get you guys to power down to 0 after you take off, right?
I know, safety first. Unless it's noisy, then we can't have that. But
Which one's got the curfew? Like San Jose's got a curfew, but
Orange
County.
County's John
Orange
Wayne's
County.
got one too. So we so for people who don't know, back in the day, right, everyone wants to fly to Orange County. Now the engines on these airplanes, I don't think you have to power them back anymore, but for the longest time you do a full power takeoff out of John Wayne, pull it up towards the moon and then level it off and go to neutral.
seriously?
Oh yeah, you just basically you pull the power way back because of noise, right? So I mean, you'd sit in the back, and a lot of times people, the captain or the first officer, they'd warn you. They go, "Hey, we're going to go up, and then we got to level," and then you slowly climb out of there. And then once you get a certain ways over the water, then you can open the taps up on it again. But I haven't had to do that in quite a while. But back in the day, they did it. My favorite John Wayne story is we're there on a Sunday morning, and they have the curfew, right? Well, most mornings the curfew starts is lifted at 7 a.m. So we
which is gonna let me interrupt. Which is funny
Yeah.
because they have flights that are booked to leave at 6:50 out of that airport, but the curfew
yeah.
doesn't go up at 7. How
yeah,
great is
so you
that?
just sit out there.
What
And
a scam.
so we were an 8:00 departure one morning, and of course so everyone was in a big hurry to get this pushed back, so they pushed us back. We had everybody on. We sat at 7:40, maybe 7:35. They pushed us real early. We just sat there for 25 minutes waiting for the airport to open. But you know, airlines that's the thing, right? So if you're the first one in the line, then you're good to go, right? That's so
It seems safe. It all seems safe.
yeah, it's all great.
And then Millard, you brought up San Jose, which is a hockey legend bed, right? That airport, because everybody's trying to get their game done in time to get to the San Jose airport before the curfew is put down, right? That's what everybody's known for.
I think.
Well, but
is it right that you can violate the curfew, but you just have to pay a fine? Like you have to pay a
Yeah,
penalty?
you can land, and you pay them whatever they want. I don't know what it used to be, like $2,500, but like the NHL teams now in San Jose, go out of Oakland. So
Oh,
when
they do?
leave after the game, they leave out of Oakland. Yeah.
Because there's no curfew.
No, you can
Because
go.
Oakland's poor.
Yeah, hair straight back all night in Oakland. And then, of course, in LA, when they play Anaheim, they all go up to LAX and leave, right? So
It's a travel hockey show. We just learned about planes leaving out of California. This episode of Orange Slices, traveling.
We're going to have to take away the hockey sticks and put wings coming off the orange.
We should put wings in, and also entertainment. We should put just like it's everything but hockey.
And Daren.
And injuries from Millard.
Hey, Mallard, can you tell
buddy.
us a little bit about?
Are we recording now, or are we?
No, we're riff.
Of course we're
what do they
recording.
call
What
it?
do you-
Riffing. It's a
Okay.
riff.
Of course we're recording. This is the thick of entertainment right here.
Okay.
Come on.
I just wanted to know what I should say or what I shouldn't say. 10
Well,
minutes.
don't say those things you usually say. That's how you get something canceled.
Tell us about game one. We were
Tone
busy
it
on
down.
Saturday
Tone
night.
it down a little bit, Hitler.
You two things you don't joke about: that
What?
and that.
And that.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
The game one was the exact repeat of game 6 between Edmonton and Dallas, where Dallas did everything right but didn't win. Edmonton did everything right in game 1 but didn't win. And you wonder how costly that will end up being, where you put forth a great effort and you aren't able to walk out of it with one of the 4 victories that you needed. And it just put more pressure on them going into game 2.
But that's
And-
sports.
Yeah, it is. But you'd like to, when you outplay a team by that margin, you'd like to be able to at least put something on the board. And it wasn't the case for Edmonton. I think it was demoralizing for the Edmonton Oilers to play that well and not be able to finish.
You think?
you
Excuse
felt-
me. It
I
has
almost felt
the
bad for the Oilers there for a second.
Yeah. Do you think, Mallard, that it has the same effect, or could be? We're looking in a mirror of what happened at Dallas in game 1 against Edmonton, and even though Dallas didn't play as well as Edmonton, they didn't have their game. I thought game 1 was really costly for the Stars for 2 reasons. The first reason is McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman all scored. But the second one is to go all the way into double overtime and lose the way they did. Do you see some similarities in that series to this series, where game 1 might be I don't want to say the kryptonite, but really hamstrung them, or hamstring, puts them in a tough spot.
I think I look at it from a Florida perspective more than Edmonton, that Florida was able to dodge one in game number 1 by a goalie win, and they are going to get better as this series moves on. Now, what gave me a real indication for game 2 of the Stanley Cup final was the third period of the opener. That's when Florida was able to find their game a little bit and to be much more defendable, and then create some opportunities. And I wondered if they could repeat that or find some semblance of that game in game 2, then they would be in a really good spot. And they did. They were the much better team of the 6 periods that we've played in this Stanley Cup final. For everything that went right for Edmonton in the opener, Florida's been the better team for 4 of the 6 periods.
Hey,
Interesting.
I don't know if people, like, whether they care or they don't care. They probably want us to get back talking about travel or movies. But do you it shouldn't be lost on people that they've scored 3 goals in their last 3 games, 2 of which have been on the power play, Edmonton, right? And 1 even strength goal by what you'd consider I wouldn't call Ekholm an offensive, defenseman, but he's very good. So do you think there's some concern there? Like, where do they start to look a little tired last night, or frustrated?
Well, they definitely
Both.
got tired by the end because they played so much. I mean, McDavid and Draisaitl played the last 7 minutes.
Well, he's 26 minutes a night in the finals. I know what everyone's going to say. Well, it's the finals, and I hear you. But when
Edmonton's
were-
deeper.
They doubled down. They had 4 players last night below, or 4 players in single digits of ice time.
Yeah.
Edmonton. Now, one of those was an ejection, but then they had 5 players less than 10 and a half minutes. That's unheard of, especially for a team that you thought is a little deeper. So they leaned into, knowing that they had 2 days off between games. They leaned into their stars last night, and I don't blame Chris Knobloch at all for that. I thought that was really good strategy for him to tap into that area that has been criticized in the past. But with the 2 days off, I thought it was smart of him. They just didn't get the place. Like Leon Draisaitl, I will say this: for as much as Florida controlled the game, Draisaitl is this close, and I'm like a millimeter from being super impactful in this series. He is just missing those one-timers from the sharp angle. Edmonton had enough going their way last night that I thought they could have they could have been in a position to pull out the victory. Their penalty kill has done an amazing job. So that's giving them a chance. Now they just need to get back to what they're good at, and that's scoring goals. Florida might be their kryptonite. Paul Maurice beat Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl with the Winnipeg Jets a couple of years ago in the playoffs, and he's 2-0 to start. So maybe he's got the magic formula.
Yeah, but I also think Florida doesn't fall apart. Like, you can see Edmonton fall apart when they get scored on. You know what I mean? Like, mentally, I don't think Edmonton's is tough. I think Florida's already been through it, and Edmonton says, "Oh, we're different now." But that, like, some of those things that they're doing, like the spearing and stuff like that, you know, what's the point?
I don't mind that, honestly.
Yeah, but
Like, not saying go out and spear somebody, but that's
I don't mind
at the
it.
end of a game.
I'm just saying that's when you see a team falling down the stairs is when they're doing it at the end of the game. They're not doing it. They're like the one time you see Evander Kane take I can't remember who he put in. Did he put Ekblad in the box with him? Like, that's different.
Montour.
Like that. There's Montour.
Yeah, that was actually an effective play. Yeah.
Right, but just doing it just to do it, that's different. That's falling apart.
Well, but he pulled Montour off. He didn't grab a guy that plays, 10 minutes a night. And he basically, when you make it 4-4, that's like another way of saying power play for the Oilers.
For the Oilers, yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't been in more scrums with Florida, especially because there's guys that'll engage with Florida. And then I loved them pulling the goalie. So Knobloch, like, it's not always going to work out, but this guy showed that he's not afraid to do maybe the higher risk move. And I've loved what he's done.
I
think
far.
He's been a real breath of fresh air, for the team, and I think they've responded. But again, when they were really rolling against Dallas, they had everybody, and Connor and Leon were around 20 minutes a night. Now they're creeped back up into the low to mid 20s. McDavid's averaging 26 minutes a game in the series, and Draisaitl's probably around 24, which is, I totally hear you. This is for all the chips, right? So,
if there's a time to do it, it's now.
It is. And with the 2 games off, I think it probably helped his strategy. If they were flying up to Edmonton today, which is Tuesday, and playing Wednesday night, I don't think he plays those guys as much. Maybe he does. I don't know. But now you're starting to see some attrition on both sides a little bit. Injuries are starting to pop up. And to me, I'm not sure why Corey Perry isn't playing. But it's pretty hard to question what Knobloch's done to this point.
Just on the ice time thing.
It's too sunny down there. He's a redhead.
I want to put the ice time thing to rest a little bit.
Well, you brought it up, so that would be good.
They were trailing in the back half of that game, so you got to double down on the Stars. And then you add in that there's penalties and power play time for Edmonton. Like McDavid, 7.5 minutes of his 26 minutes of ice time was on the man advantage. Draisaitl, same thing. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Zach Hyman, all over 7 minutes of ice time on the power play. Those are low impact minutes. So I think the ice time, at least in game 2, a little misleading from a taxing your stars. Now in the third period, those guys, they were gassed in the back half because they played without the goalie for the last 5.5 minutes, and it was stressful and really high intensity minutes. So there is that, but the whole 26 minutes, I think it's a bit false, misleading.
It might be, but you'd be hard pressed to find many other teams in the league that their star forwards play that much. So whether it's misleading or those aren't those, I loved McDavid's game last night, but Florida took away the middle, and I sit here and I watch, and we're 2-0 Florida, and I sit here and go, again, we might have talked about this last time you're on, but Michael Jordan in the NBA, Kobe, Shaq, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, superstars, they've won their championships. As a person that, we all grew up around the game, whether you're pulling for Florida or not, or Edmonton, there's a part of me that's for McDavid. I'm like, man, oh man, I sure hope he can get a cup, because this guy is beyond special. I mean, he's definitely in the top 5 all time. He's probably going to be, I think he could be the greatest. We'll see. But I think for our game, it's nice to see the superstars, and there's no bigger star than this guy, hoist the hardware at the end, like you see in so many other sports. And he might get it this year, he might get it, down the road, but you've now got to win 4 to 5. And I know you take it one at a time, but the way Florida defended last night, wow, they look really, really good.
They were physical.
Sorry, I'm busy crying.
They were physical. They were strategic. I thought there's the adjustments that they made in the midst of game number 1 certainly paid off, and they were deeper. And Edmonton's lack of depth, if you want to call it that, like they didn't hit 20
But this
shots.
is the most deep team Edmonton's ever had.
I know.
Oh my God, we've heard about that.
There's 6 guys. I think it was 6 guys without a shot attempt on Edmonton last night. Without a shot attempt. I know they were limited to 19 shots.
Without a shot attempt.
Like that's telling to me.
Well, their defense led, right? Their defense had the majority of their shots. Like Kulak had 5 shots, and Desharnais had 3, and Heckholm, he had 3. I'm sure Bouchard had 3 or 4, and they had 9. What did they end up with, Millard? 19 or 20 shots.
Yeah.
So you know what? And you look around their lineup, and they're in the finals, and it hasn't gone their way the first 2 games. So they go back to Edmonton, it's going to be bananas. They can flip the switch. I would like to see Janmark get some shifts with one of the 2 big guys. You know what I mean?
I'm with you on that. I was looking at his usage last night, and it feels like he's around it every time he's on the ice. Yeah. And I think he is, based on his 13 minutes. I'd like to see him get a little more.
But that's also what we're talking about with Janmark is the new guys, the guys that step up in the playoffs. They always talk about somebody's going to step up in the playoffs and do something, right? But if they're not getting the ice time, they're not going to be able to step up and do something.
Well, and there's some other guys that have to play with the big boys, right? I mean, that's kind of, and to me, if you look at Janmark's track record in big games, it's incredible. In the Dallas series, he was phenomenal. When he was here with Vegas, Game 7 against Minnesota, was that 3 years ago, Millard? 2-3 years ago? Hat trick in Game 7 to put them on to the next round. And here's a guy that I'm not going to say he plays with spare parts, because these guys are all unbelievable, but you don't see him out there with 29 and 97. And I really think he's the kind of intangible player that if you give him a sniff, he can reward you. And here's the thing. I think McDavid, like, I loved his game last night. He couldn't penetrate the middle, but he was just so electric, like when you're watching from a fan's point of view. But if you give Janmark a sniff. I think he is one of the guys that can help alleviate some of the weight on Draisaitl and McDavid as we go forward. And they may have to move Bouchard back a couple minutes too, because some of the plays he made last night, I don't know if it's fatigue, but what did he play? Almost 30 minutes. And he played a whole bunch in the game before. So
he's 31 last night.
Yeah, he's 31. And so, I know the kid's had an unbelievable playoff and he's still a young defenseman, but a couple of puck decisions he made last night, I would say probably is more from probably fatigue. And give Florida credit, they're on top of you, but where do you spread that ice time out to, right? That's a little bit more of a problem on the defense for Edmonton than putting Janmark with one of the top guys for a shift or two, a period.
Was there any talk about the ice being not so good down there?
I didn't hear any, but I wouldn't be surprised at all.
It looked a little sluggish, slow for them. So
yeah, they had some rain going through, and humidity was massive. So.
Right. I'm wondering if when they get back to Edmonton, the ice is completely different. Maybe they're able to not look as tired. No?
I don't know whether that plays as much into it. I'm willing to buy that theory.
Yes.
That the ice was sluggish or sloppy last night. I don't know how much greater it's going to be in Edmonton. It's still middle of June, late June, and depending on the weather, and I don't think that it's going to be tangibly better that you're going to see Edmonton be able to take control of the series.
But if Florida's is used to that happening to their ice, and Edmonton's not used to the ice being like that can affect. No,
I think the humidity is a factor. Just like altitude,
humidity,
and the ice is the ice, right? Because they both play on the same ice.
The ice is the ice. Jeff Sharples.
Well, I mean, Edmonton's ice is historically the best in the NHL. It's not even close. But I do believe that it's 80, 95, degrees every afternoon. 90s in Florida right now. Humidity's probably around 60, 70, 80%.
19,000 people in a building.
Yeah, you know what? I can go back to when I played down in Florida and this time of year, and it can affect you just like I believe the altitude can affect you in Denver or next year Salt Lake and in Vegas. Even in Vegas, like it's 2,200 feet here, but they're playing games here in the playoffs. It's 100 degrees outside. Well, that's a little thing called density altitude makes your body feel like it's at a lot higher elevation than it is. Humidity it wears on people. Like you talk to people that spend any time in the South in the summer and it just, they hate it. And so
that's why they all talk like this.
So we'll see. I think
the weather's getting me down. I'd like to go down, but I can't skate as fast.
Headphones you got going today, Bagg?
What's that?
What kind of headphones you got going today?
I got my Beats.
Oh, nice. He looks like he's
dead.
He's from. Hey, what was the Star Trek ship? The Spaceship Enterprise.
Yeah,
that's what he looks like. He was a character like
Jody LaForge.
I thought he had earmuffs on.
Yeah, earmuffs. I look like the kid from Something About Mary. What is it? Franks and beans.
That's awesome.
That's a couple of good references. Star Trek and Something About Mary.
And we're Little House on the Prairie.
We're an entertainment show. We're an entertainment show as well. Bridgerton.
Hey,
did you guys watch Little House on the Prairie?
Oh yeah, every Sunday, right? Wasn't it on after Disney?
Disney.
Yeah.
I remember on Disney.
Yeah, Disney. Hey, the greatest place. And then you show up there and you're like, it's the greatest place, but I better bring my money.
You are not very positive about the Disney experience.
Me?
You were bringing me down.
No, I loved every minute of it. What are you talking about?
Here we go. Now here's a fight. Here's the fight.
Now we're talking about theme parks. I told you straight out. I told you to get back by the Millennium Falcon and go to that bar where all the droids are in there. And you were like, oh yeah, we don't really like rides. And I said, well, that's good because it's a bar. I'm not But the Star
There's a big
Wars
lineup there.
ride is
That's so
crazy.
funny.
It's unbelievable. So
Welcome
yeah,
to
you
Orange
pay a little
Slices,
bit.
a show about roller coasters.
I can't do roller coasters as much anymore. But one thing that gets me,
Because
teacups.
you get injured.
I can't
What?
do teacups anymore.
Yeah, they're barfy. They've
Yeah.
always been.
Yeah.
They're the barf machine. That's
I
why
could do
they're
it when I was
teacup.
younger. I can't do the teacups anymore.
Really? Oh, if you want to just watch people barf, you just stand there and
Yes.
watch that. Oh,
Yes.
it's terrible. Oh, so
Hey,
stupid.
but did you jump on the Matterhorn? Because that's right beside the teacups.
I did. Yeah.
In Disneyland. We're talking Disneyland here, folks, not Disney World. I'm not sure where the Matterhorn is. Disney World, but yeah.
Disney
Okay.
World or Disney World or Disneyland? Pick one.
Well, I went to Disneyland first, so I'd have to say that's my my favorite because that's the first place I went. But Disney World is insane, just a little different. But
I went to Paris Disney. Disney.
Oh,
Oh,
was
really?
that-
Well,
It was very small compared to the other ones.
Hmm.
And a
Is-
lot more
is-
French.
was it? I was going to say, was it small or was it un petit?
It was very French. Very French.
hey,
I saw
so
somebody get
Mallard,
mugged on the train getting off the train there.
Oh, I
that's
love
so-
it. It's,
Yeah.
Paris is
And I
like
sat
Chicago.
there. People were jumping in, and I just sat there. Like I'm not
because
getting
you had a
involved.
bad wrist.
I'm
Look,
not getting involved.
You did one of the just put up your wrist.
Do you think? Okay,
Je m'appelle injury.
we know 2-0 series lead. 91% of the teams go on, but we watched a team come back from a 2-0 deficit earlier in these playoffs in Dallas. I'm curious from your fan and educated point of view from the hockey side, where is Edmonton? How much trouble is Edmonton in right now, or how much control is Florida have right now, Bagg?
A lot. Like I was the way I watched that game number 2, I was like, we went at it. You said 5, I said 4. I don't know if they can win a game. They suddenly reminded me of Dallas falling apart after they had won 2 games. You know what I mean? Dallas was just like, we can't do this. There's just no way we can do this. And I got the same feeling from Edmonton last night when they're on the ice. We're just holding on for dear life. And I don't know if I don't even know if they can win a game in this series. And if they do win a game, you can all come back and just boot me in the balls over and over again. But to me, it's when I watch my favorite team, the Canucks, I'm like, oh, this is done. This is done. And I wasn't, I hate Edmonton. It was just like, oh, they are just trying to hold on. They've bought a motorbike that has got way too much power for them. And they're just trying to wait, right? So that's what I think. Now over to the educated point.
back to you,
Go ahead.
Mallard.
No, you.
No, that's
Me? Okay, so this is a classic, one game at a time. But
yeah.
I got to say, yeah, go ahead and have a sleep. Put your noise canceling headset on and sleep. Here's where the question I ask. If now Barkov, if he's out, that affects things. But can Stuart Skinner beat Bobrovsky 4 of the next 5 nights? That's the question, right? So that's a pretty daunting. He hasn't been the problem, but he's going to have to steal them. He's going to have to make some saves like the kind of Bobrovsky are making. So the question is that the next 4 to 5, can Stuart Skinner, play above Bobrovsky or equal to? And hopefully Edmonton finds its offense. Florida looks like they're carrying on after a two-period slumber in game 1. Looks like they're carrying on to exactly how they played the whole playoffs. And, you look at it, Matthew Tkachuk has not been a big part of the conversation so far. And so you have to figure that, he's going to get in there too. My thing with Edmonton is, again, if you play them 5v5 or even strength, teams seem to have success against them, where Edmonton gets all their juice and Florida's giving them Florida's throwing the match on the gasoline. They've given them all kinds of power plays. but they haven't been able to get their power play going, which seems to ignite the rest of their team. So I think Edmonton obviously has to win game 3. But right now, yeah, it looks like Florida. If they can come back though, and I've said this from the start, the longer the series goes, the more it benefits Edmonton. And obviously now to benefit Edmonton, it's going to have to go at least 6. So we'll see. It'll be bananas like they haven't ever seen up there. I like the fact Florida's flying in today, which is Tuesday. Get up there, get a part of the pandemonium, get that kind of, and
Go
get
to the
settled
mall.
and go to the mall and go down
Submarine
to the
ride.
Mosfet. Yeah. So
Submarine
I
Speaking
didn't
of
really
mall,
answer that,
speaking-
but
Speaking of
anyways.
mall, I have to bring up, I stayed when I was up there 2 weeks ago in Edmonton on the Sunday night that they took out Dallas. You know what hotel they put me in? Fantasyland. And
Oh, you were at the
guess-
mall?
Yeah. Oh, I did 2 shows at the Rick Bronson's comic strip and sold out that night. Anyways, back to me.
Sorry,
Um,
yeah. But what was that
but-
again? It kind of roboted there. I thought you said sold out.
Sold out. Franks and beans.
SRO.
Yeah. Standing room only.
What
Anyways,
was the theme of your room?
Polynesian. And it was interesting that I didn't know. I had no idea. I just thought it was called a fantasy. But I walk in and it's a grotto and a bed. That's what my room was. And everything was, I just got so excited. I just twisted my computer. Everything was just, every towel in the room was crispy. It was terrifying. It was terrifying.
Do you have
Oh my
pictures?
God. I do have pictures. We'll post one. I'll send it to you guys and I'll post one right now.
Why don't you share that stuff with us while it's happening?
Because I was busy naked. No. I'll send it to when things get weird. I'll start sending them to you guys. I took pictures of it. It was terrifying.
Here's the good and
And
the
that-
bad of the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, we got to
Of
wrap it up. So wrap
my
this up.
Polynesian room.
Yeah,
Stuart
we
Skinner
can't end like that.
has not been a problem for Edmonton. I think that's the good. The bad is Stuart Skinner hasn't been the problem for Edmonton, and they've still lost. So you're wondering, does he have one of those games where he does struggle? Is that coming down the pipe? Matthew Tkachuk hasn't been influential for Florida, and they're still up 2-0. So when does he click into gear and have one of those dominant games? That would really concern me for the Edmonton Oilers. And the other part is Florida's power play hasn't been able to click. If that ever gets going, like I think this series is closer than 2-0. I think Edmonton, that would be disrespectful to Edmonton to say that they've played reminiscent to a 2-0 deficit. But if they don't kill penalties, they're sunk.
Yeah, but they're killing them. I mean, that one goal in the last 35 or whatever it is. So, to me, someone has to help get their boat, paddle over to the island that McDavid's on, and help him. They got to bolster their 2 stars. Somebody's got to step up, like they did in the Dallas series. They had all kinds of help. So, and you know what? Skinner reminds me a lot of Aiden Hill, the way he's big, and you know what? Sometimes he kind of moves around a little bit, but yeah, he's been fine. I mean, you can't blame him on any of those goals. Those are, point blank last night, and through a screen, a deflection, and a slapper from just inside the top of the circles. So, yeah,
Well, he's played great, but he's down
if they can
2-0.
get some help. Yep. Well, I mean,
No.
but here's the thing: the confident side of that is he's been given them the goaltending they need the last 2 series, and he came in at the end of the Vancouver series. So, I have a real problem when they blamed Stuart Skinner last year against Vegas. I'm like, way to throw the rookie under the bus. How about you tighten some other things up, which they have done. So I think we go 2-1 on Thursday night, and we got ourselves a series. And, there's McDavid, and like you said, Draisaitl have been really close to getting away on them. So, and I don't think Florida's played a team with the pace Edmonton has, but Edmonton has to get more guys involved so they can spread out the wear and tear up and down their lineup. Like, I'm not saying you don't play Draisaitl, McDavid in the low 20s or whatever you need to play them, but you got to get the other guys, Holloway, Janmark, Nugent Hopkins got to be a little bit more. You got to get some of the guys that can scoot for you out there going. So
I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Any issue on the major to Warren Fogle?
No.
Okay, I don't either.
No, I don't have
Not
a
at
problem
all.
with it. And if they would end up giving a major to him earlier in the game, they might have called a major and reviewed Draisaitl's hit on Barkov.
That's my
'Cause
next one. Do you
Yep.
think there's any supplemental discipline for Draisaitl on the Barkov elbow that he took to the face? It was ruled roughing, I believe, but it was an elbow, and it was a blatant elbow. I'm not calling out the officials because it was right against the glass, very difficult
You couldn't
to
see it. You see it from the opposite camera.
But in video review and supplemental discipline, it's obvious. If Barkov, and I haven't heard anything, have you guys heard his status?
No, they're not
Okay.
going to say anything.
And will you?
But if what if he has a broken jaw?
Well, what if he doesn't travel? That's what they'll know if he travels. If he travels, and a $5,000 fine isn't going to do anything. But you're going to
If
have all the
Barkov's hurt,
conspiracy-
is there supplemental discipline for Draisaitl?
Well, here's my question about that. How long can the league wait before they give supplemental? Like, can they wait until he doesn't travel?
They would probably rule on it tomorrow.
So
Here's the thing, though.
they can take 48 hours after a game to give out supplemental discipline.
Yeah, they can do. Yeah, it would just have to. They could come out with something today and say there's no further action or a fine or whatever. But
if they're quiet,
they're
they're thinking about it still.
yeah. Today's a travel day. Everybody's traveling. We'll rule on it tomorrow.
But just remember something. They didn't give Bennett anything for punching Marchand in the head, knocking him out. And, so you.
Yeah, but that's different
How is it different?
because it's an elbow.
Instead of a guy punching,
It's
Marchand
elbows,
was going to hit him.
but elbow is a intent injure. You know what I mean? Like punching somebody. You would have to give supplemental discipline for every fight too. If you give him up for a punch.
You remember the play I'm talking about?
Yes, I'm when he's coming.
Yeah.
When he
So
when
you're
he
just
still
saying
punched him.
That was sneaky
but if-
gamesmanship versus. So you don't because you could look at both of those and say that they're targeting.
Yeah, but but leading with this is different than leading with this, because you're punching people in a fight. You're not elbowing people. Like if somebody started doing UFC, I'm sure there would be supplemental discipline if somebody just started elbowing people in a fight.
Yeah, I'm just saying
Okay.
Barkov not
I'm
being
all fired
available.
up.
If he's not available, that's a series changer.
100%, and changes big time for Edmonton. And it's one thing I give the Edmonton superstars credit, man. Those guys are like the Energizer Bunny. They just keep going and going and going. They've only missed a handful of games between the two of them in the last 6-7 years. It's amazing, and the amount of miles they put on. So we'll see. But I got to get rolling here.
I know you got to get. I got to
let's
get rolling,
wrap
but
it
I
up.
just want to bring up one thing. The goal by Edmonton, a bad on the goalie or amazing on the player.
Who shoots 5-hole? And the other part is
I've already told you.
Who shoots when you're a stay-at-home defenseman and you've got Leon Draisaitl on the 2-on-1 with you?
But does that confuse the goalie so much that he falls apart on that?
I mean, I don't
He
think
has-
he fell
that
apart. It just got through him. It wasn't like
You
he left
go-
the hole.
you
I just
goalies
thought
all
I thought there
stand
was
together.
I thought it was tricky to shoot on that play because
Okay.
if I'm on a 2-on-1 with Sharps and I don't pass to him and I don't score, I'm in big trouble.
Yeah, but
Right.
hang on a second.
But
What
also it's
do you
cocky.
guys think the percentages of Ekholm when he shoots the puck and he happened to score? So it was 100%. If we go down 10 times and he shoots it 10 times, how many times does he hit the net? I feel like, and a train leaves Los Angeles. But
Yeah.
how many times out of 10?
Where's the orange and the apple leaving?
Yeah,
I think he gets. I think he gets
the
the first. I think he gets the first one, but he doesn't get the rest
Okay,
of
but
them.
how many times does he hit the net? Is what I'm asking you guys.
Oh my God.
I think
Like how many and remember Forsland sliding across. So I just want to know, out of 10 times that he shoots the puck from where he was, and I know he scored, how many times does he hit the net there? 8, 9, would you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, out of 10 times him trying to pass the puck across to Leon Draisaitl, how many times does he get that puck across as a defenseman?
So you're saying that he's not a very good passer.
I'm just asking, because I
No,
tell the
you're
kids all the
saying
time.
you're saying kiss.
Yeah, I am. And you know what?
You are. You're saying keep it simple, stupid.
We kissed a lot last weekend, but we kept it simple. Here's what I'm saying to the kids all the time. I'm saying to you two kids too. Mallard, what do we say when we're out there on the ice? How many chances in a game are you going to get from below the top of the circles on the inside of the dots? You might get 1 or 2 in a game, and you might not get another 1 or 2 for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, McDavid's a little different. Dreisaitl's a little different. Ekholm, I love the shoot. Yeah, and if he buried it in the crest, everyone would go, "Well, he had Draisaitl," but
it was just about like 6 inches below the crest. Like it was right in the middle of the net.
I don't know how it went through the guy that takes away the bottom of the net better than any goalie maybe ever, but he scored. So that's all I'm saying is we are talking. We say to the kids all the time, and then if that puck hits him and it spills, your energy is going towards him, and so is Draisaitl's. I get it. The guy's Hall of Fame player over on the right side, but to me,
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Wayne Gretzky.
I'm a shoot first guy.
So, anyways,
if you're on a 2-on-0, I like to shoot in a 2-on-0 because
not
everybody
talking
thinks you're going to pass.
yeah, well, and all you're trying to do is help your buddy, and all you do is help your buddy like not score. So yeah, just rip it.
A 2-0 is actually easier for a
Just
goaltender
rip
because he
it.
knows the pass is going across in an idea of trying to figure out what's going to happen. I know it's hard to stop, but
All right. Any
All right.
shout outs for you, Mallard? We got to get going here. I got to get rolling. So
I want to shout out to you guys. You had your daughter's wedding in Colorado Springs, and seeing you guys all have fun in the pictures that I got was heartwarming. It was very cool. Although Lord Bagg was on his phone in almost every picture, but it was fun to see.
You know why? Because I'll tell
all
you
of
what,
our
I'll tell you what.
friends in one place. It was really cool and looked like a fun experience.
My God, we have to show this picture right now. Phil Kessel was at the wedding.
oh, Nick.
Yeah,
Nick.
Phil Kessel. Phil
The
Kessel
groom's
looked like
brother, Nick. Colin's brother. Yep.
Doppelganger.
a doppelganger. We were so
He's
excited.
awesome too. Yeah.
That was amazing.
So he was wearing a Pacers t-shirt on Sunday. I go, "Hey, you a Pacers fan?" It's like, "Yep, sure am."
Well, seeing
He's such a
Roddy
good guy.
and seeing
Yeah.
Randy and all you guys it was awesome. But my favorite picture was Lord Bagg sitting there by himself on his phone. Nothing said Lord Bagg more than just being by himself on the phone.
With
Right,
his
Sandy?
sunglasses, because he's
Yeah, the
somehow
sunglasses.
can't get the regular glasses so he's out there with his welding goggles on.
Oh my God,
Okay.
You were ready for the slopes.
I was ready.
You got some shout outs there, Lord Bagg?
I was going to shout out the wedding, but you can all fuck off now. Honestly, it was such a good time. I said to Jeff, I said, I wish you had 12 more daughters because I have both your daughters' weddings have been amazing, and I could do this every year for the next 12 years, and then just go quietly into the night. Just a big shout out for the whole weekend, just and getting invited. Daren.
That's well played.
Sure, I may have been on the sidelines, but I was at the wedding.
I was in the state.
The best part of the whole wedding was it was at a Catholic church, and there was his side, and then there was the Sharple side, and his side. They responded every time the priest said something, and our side was completely quiet. It was we knew nothing.
This is the
It was
Q&A.
us.
What's going on here?
They were
It was
like, "Are we
so
supposed to
great.
say something?"
It was just us looking at each other. I don't know. Amen.
Is there a sheet here that we're supposed to follow?
It was brilliant. It was my favorite part. It's so
It's
good.
the only time in your life you've ever played the quiet game. They had you
just
totally
like-
confused.
It was so good. So
It was great. No, it was good. So, and I'm assuming that you took away your shout out, you gave it back. But yeah, thanks to everybody for coming. All our friends that we saw last weekend was awesome. Colorado Springs, really cool place. Great people over there. And we had a good time. So anyways, that's all I got from there. Mallard, and while we were doing this, I got a text what you wanted for your coffee order today before we went on the ice, but you're not coming on the ice, I guess. So I guess I'll just have one extra large coffee.
It's hard to
for
fit
myself.
my glove hand. They used to call it a trapper, glove hand on.
Well, we call you know what we call it? We call it a sieve.
I can't fit the glove hand.
All right.
Oh,
All right. I got
no.
to get going here. So
Where are you going? What are you doing today?
I got to go to a meeting.
Oh,
Ooh.
like an important meeting?
Boutros Ghali is going to a meeting.
Yeah, the United Nations. We're getting together. I love the Boutros Ghali. Have you ever heard a better name other than Ian Hanamansing? Bringing it back. Love him, CBC. So anyways, I think the Oilers win tomorrow night. I hope they do. Make it a good series. And then whoever wins from there, good for them.
Back
Love
to
to all-
Florida for game 5.
Love to